Hi, everyone. Please remember to state your name and outlet before asking a question. Ayla, can you talk us through your match today?
Yeah, I felt like coming in, I was actually really excited to play her because she beat me last few times, and one of those times was really close, and I felt like I had my chances, but um, I was feeling really good here in my first round, so I thought I could really put up a good fight today. And despite, losing the second set, I always felt like if I start well and kind of get ahead, I'd give myself opportunities. And I'm very happy that this time around I took them and ended up with the win.
Okay. First question, Courtney.
Hey, Isla, Courtney Nguyen, WT Insider. Congrats on the
Hey,
win. Hey, just what pleases you the most, or what are you most proud of about today's win? I mean, it's your fourth top 10 win. She's coming in, obviously in good form and in good confidence. So yeah, what's the most satisfying thing about today's win?
I get really happy when I get into these moments where I get nervous and I manage to stay calm and focus on just what's on the task, because even when I have in the past missed my chances or had really tough losses against the top players, you're like, well, okay, I'm going to learn from it, but the next time you're in the same position, it's never really the same. It's always a new moment. So but you can take the lessons before and apply it, but the fact that it's always new, like in that moment you have to problem solve. And I'm just happy that I kind of took everything I could from all the losses before and just did kind of my best to react in a way that will benefit me. And I knew that I could have again lost, putting myself in good situations, but I'm going out there knowing that I'm capable and that I can come up with the goods when it matters.
Speaking of that, of just kind of learning from those experiences, but then at the same time, all experiences being new, what were you telling yourself, or what do you think was the key today of keeping yourself on an even keel to get the win?
Yeah, I just felt like when I broke to go up 5-3, I just thought to myself to make her work, for her to hold, even if goes to 5-4, and that just to remember that she's the one that's now in a tough spot and not the other way around, because sometimes you can be the one to feel pressure that you have to close it out, but no, you actually need one game and she needs four to win the match. So just kind of tricking my brain to stay in the moment, and yeah, just finding ways where I put myself in a position that really helps me instead of not.
Thank you.
Next question for Craig.
Craig Gabriel. Going into the match, you said you'd lost to her a few times. In fact, it was three straight times that you've lost to her. Um, did that enter your mind at all, or is it what's in the past is in the past and everything's fresh?
No, I definitely did think about it, but I just took all the positives, all the things I could use for this match. I also did remember that I did beat her once a long time ago, and that gave me confidence, that I could do it again. And there was a few close ones we had that didn't go my way, but just knowing her game and what she can do and what I can do, that helped me going in there. But again, I like when I put myself in a position where I feel like the underdog, but I 100% believe that I can win.
Next up for you is Sidancic. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I think I've played her a few times in the past, not this year, um, but she's been having a great year, so I'm expecting her to play really well, like she has been. Um, and I think the matchup here, I don't mind, so I'm pretty excited for it because I'm feeling good, and there's no reason why I shouldn't put a good performance in on Monday.
The two matches you've played so far, one at night, one during the day. Um, has there been a preference? Has one been any more comfortable than the other as far as conditions in which to play?
No, I really enjoyed the conditions at night. The only thing I don't like about it, like I don't like waiting that long to play. I do in the end, like the first match, you got to wake a little earlier, but once it gets to 11 o'clock, I'm happy I'm first on. So just for that, I prefer to go on a little bit earlier.
Have you put in a request for the next round to do that?
No,
Okay.
I'll just deal with whatever comes my way.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Alia.
Thanks.
Next question for Karen.
Yeah, hi, Ayla.
Hey.
Great win today. Way to come through in the third. When you do end up with a later match or even a match that gets delayed, how do you occupy that time so that you don't think too much about it and you're able to just stay loose and keep your nerves in check?
Yeah, it's not easy for me. Even, I've been doing this for a while. So I kind of set myself, okay, whenever until I start warming up for even my warm up, I try to disconnect and not think about it too much. And then once I get to the site and once it's getting closer, I kind of set apart the time where I'm going to talk about the match and know what I'm doing. And after that, I'll let my thoughts kind of settle, but I know it. I keep thinking about it once it's that close, and there's not much I can do about it, and it also keeps me on my toes. But it's more about that time beforehand to not really just overthink it, which sometimes I can do.
Thank you.
Courtney.
Ayla, just a kind of a weird question, but hang with me on this one. But you're a player who obviously is so talented and has been kind of on our radars for so long, and I guess when there's a difference between being a younger player and an older player and kind of experiencing things. You're a player that talks a lot about confidence and about sometimes not believing in yourself as much as maybe you should, or kind of struggling with sometimes the self-belief in key moments or just throughout. And I'm curious for you, where do you think that struggle comes from? If that makes sense. Like some people have the innate confidence, they're walking out there, doesn't matter what happens, they believe that they're gonna come through, and then others, it's a struggle all the time. And I'm curious for you, do you think it's innate? Do you think your time on the tour and results have led to this? Like, kind of what's your take on
Yeah,
that?
that's a good question. So I think I'm a big thinker. So I will overthink even the smallest things, which sometimes works for me and other times it doesn't. On top of that, I just want it so much a lot of the times. And there's that little kid in me that all I wanted to ever do was play tennis and win. And sometimes it's hard to accept the losses. And it's hard to accept that maybe where I thought I'd be, I didn't hit those marks. And it kind of builds in my mind that, I kind of failed. And then I wanted even more. And I get into situations when it's like really within my reach, and it's tennis. It happens. You don't win. You don't always win. And I sometimes make it bigger than it is. But now that I'm a little bit older and I'm making, runs that I haven't before, it also makes me appreciate it a lot more. And it makes me think, why wasn't I happier when I was like, I don't know, 20, 21, making a fourth round of the French? Like that was awesome, But back then it was kind of, you're just younger, you take it differently. And yeah, I think it's always going to be a learning process for me. It never comes easily, but it's definitely so worth it when I do get it right. Because like even when I'm playing well, I'm always ready for anything. But I'm just learning how to relax and stay competitive, but without having that added pressure from myself. Because it can be a curse a little bit. But I'm happy that I still want it as much as I do because it's what keeps me going.
And do you feel like this season, with the runs that you've been able to put together and kind of, leveling up in different ways, or at least playing with a little bit more consistency, that you're kind of breaking apart like that scar tissue that can kind of, mental scar tissue that can kind of build up over time as those struggles kind of mount up? Do you feel like there was a big breakthrough this year with it?
I think what's been really helpful this year is that I've just accepted that, whatever happens, happens, and I have to move on and then try again. I don't try to dwell on the past. or on the losses too long. And every tournament I take as just a new opportunity and just happy to even, be able to play, because it gets lost sometimes. We do this for a living, and you're, every week in and out. And I mean, what are we doing? We're playing it's my passion to play tennis, and I'm making a living out of it. When you look at it that way, I'm like, wow, I should really enjoy this way more. And I am, but the competitiveness and the losses sometimes get a little heavy. But just simplifying it, and always moving forward, taking the loss on the chin and learning from it, and believing that, my time will come. That's what kind of keeps me going.
Next question for Craig.
Just taking into consideration what you were just saying, have you tried to speak with anybody like a sports psychologist or anything like that to try and get over those sort of hurdles? And how do you deal with the frustrations of being in those sort of situations?
I am working with a psychologist. She's not exactly a sports psychologist. She's more general. I've been working for a year now with her, and I really do like it, and I do believe in, that can help a lot. Sorry, what was the second part of the question?
How do you get over those frustrations of
Oh,
being in that situation?
Well, I keep in mind that we all deal with it. Everyone in this tournament, we all go through the same emotions, and the one that comes out on top and is the one that gets over it, as quickly as possible, but still takes the lessons out of it. And positivity, it's so cliche, but it's like it speeds up everything bad happening in your life. So I'm learning to do that. But also, when I'm really not feeling like doing something, I'm okay to step back and be like, you know what, I'm going to take a week off because this is just not working right now. So just learning what to do in certain moments is really, I think, key for me at this stage in my career.
And are you really too hard on yourself? I mean, it was an interesting line that Raducanu used last night. She said she needs to cut herself a bit of slack. Um, do you think that's sort of a thing you need to apply to yourself, that maybe you're too hard on yourself, or you're in this fantastic position to be playing a sport for a living, and it's a great on court life and an off court life, and that maybe that could be an option.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like I said, it's a blessing and a curse, because it's what drives me to be better, but it's also what kicks me when I'm already down, and sometimes keeps me there longer than I want to be. So I try really hard not to be that hard on myself and give myself more credit. And I did read some of Emma's quotes, and I think for an 18-year-old to say that, she has really good way she looks at it. What she's done is unbelievable, and for her, yeah, I've read it, and I think, like, I thought to myself, I can even apply to that even if I'm 28.
Fair enough. Thanks, AJ.
And last question for Karen.
Yeah, following up a little bit on that. So sounds like you've definitely got the mental side you're working on. I'm also curious about your schedule. You said that you're getting better about allowing yourself to take a week off. How are you just managing, especially in a year with COVID where things have been unpredictable? You can't really be sure when you're going to be able to play or not. How have you dealt with that this year?
Yeah, I just can feel it, like when it feels a little too hard to go to practice, I'm like, okay, maybe I take a few days off. I never want to get to the stage where I'm really burned out. It happened to me last year, and it sometimes delays the process even more when you try to push through something that should just be left alone. So like this year after the Open, I didn't play, and I said, okay, I'm actually gonna even take like a week off and not hit as much, just to refresh my mind, and be hungry now for these tournaments, where maybe in the past I'd chase something that shouldn't be chased and think that the more I play, the better I'll get quicker. And it's not really the case, at least with me. So just being okay with taking a moment to breathe and not play has been beneficial for the rest of the year.
Thanks, everyone.